Hello, I'm Ben Fogle, and like most of you, I love nothing more than getting out and about on the water. And when I'm out there, I'm constantly keeping an eye out for some of the fantastic creatures that live there.
Dolphins, sharks, seals and seabirds. The waters around the British Isles are home to a wonderful array of marine life. Most of us find the company of marine wildlife to be one of the most enjoyable elements of going to sea. Who can fail to be moved by the sight of gannets diving, or dolphins bow riding in friendly companionship? But as our seas become ever busier with both leisure and commercial interests, it's essential that we give our marine neighbours the space they need to live a natural life. We hope that this short film will show you how you can easily take positive steps to reduce potential for our presence to cause harm to marine life. So, come and meet the cast. Whales and dolphins vary in their response to boats. Some are more sensitive than others. Some simply prefer to be left alone. The one thing they do have in common is that they all use sound to communicate with one another and for hunting their prey. Some boat noises, echo sounders, engines and especially propeller sounds, are in the same range of frequencies that some species like bottlenose dolphins use, and may drown out their communications, causing panic, especially for mothers and calves. Observing dolphins close up as they ride the bow wave of your vessel is an incredible and memorable sight. This is when it's most important to maintain a steady course and speed, to make sure that you minimise the risk of collision. And when they've had enough, let them leave on their own accord. When they do, take the hint and don't be tempted to pursue them. Dolphins use a tremendous amount of energy trying to keep pace with your boat, energy they would otherwise use to hunt, and whilst they may enjoy it for a short period, they can't keep it up for long. There are a number of simple rules to follow if you sight dolphins. At no less than 300 metres, slow down. No more than 6 knots is ideal, and no wake speed is best. Check to see whether calves are present. If they are, the animals may not be receptive, so steer clear. And never get between mothers and calves. Be aware of your surroundings. Are the animals in a shallow bay where they may feel hemmed in? Are they in open waters where they have room to freely move? Never close off their exit route from confined spaces. If it seems okay to get a little closer, make a slow approach from behind and to one side. They'll know you're there, and this angle of approach is less intrusive. Watch out at all times for signs that your presence is not welcome, such as rapid swimming or sudden course alteration by the group. Don't approach closer than 100 metres. Measure this against your boat length. This is close enough to get a good view and still allows the animals to come to you if they wish. Never drive your vessel through groups of dolphins. Don't outstay your welcome. 15 minutes is long enough. Then the animals can go back to normal behaviour and relax. 2's company, 3's a crowd. Don't approach if more than 2 other boats are present. The more boats, the greater the potential to disturb. Leave wanting more. That way, you'll always have an excuse to get afloat. Remember too that many of these animals are not only sensitive to disturbance, but are protected by law from reckless or intentional disturbance. Insensitive boat handling that leads to disturbance or injury could result in legal action against you. Give wildlife the space and time to live their lives undisturbed. Enjoy the view and leave nothing but ripples when you leave. The waters around the west of Britain enjoy regular visits by the world's second largest fish, the basking shark. A highly protected species, these gentle giants have very different needs from whales and dolphins. They're large, powerful creatures, and although they feed only on minute animal plankton, they can still pose a threat to small craft that approach too close, sometimes lashing out with their huge tail if disturbed. Basking sharks can often be seen feeding close to headlands, where long, calm slicks of water mark plankton-rich fronts, highly attractive to the sharks. Sharks feeding along fronts often move in a fairly unpredictable manner, so it's sensible to keep your distance. They can also enter a kind of feeding-induced trance, where they become oblivious to the approach of vessels, and so won't get out of your way, with potentially unwelcome results for you and the shark. Sharks may also be seen in these areas in groups, courting, when they should be avoided so as not to disturb this important activity. In these circumstances, sharks may not only be at the surface, but sometimes just below, where they may be invisible from your craft and so extremely vulnerable to injury from collision. And your boat may be vulnerable to damage. So keep a good lookout if you can see one shark. There may be others below the surface, just out of sight. And remember that basking sharks can leap clear of the water. If you see this happen, it's best to keep well out of the way. So, what are the most important tips when you see a basking shark? Slow down to less than 6 knots, at least 300 metres distance from the animal. Approach slowly from the side and behind. Don't approach closer than 100 metres. Shark movements can be unpredictable. Take your engine out of gear so the propeller's not turning. Never cut across ahead of sharks. Don't stay for longer than 15 minutes. Navigate carefully around fronts and keep a good lookout for other sharks just below the surface.